welcome you all to our session for this evening. We're so excited to be able to come and speak to you all about media right here from our Tennessee Central headquarters in Jackson, Tennessee, Unity Temple. Thank you all so much for joining in. We know that this was a session that was that they told you about this session kind of at the last minute. It was something that Bishop added on to the conference just so that we could hit all aspects of not only leadership but workings or ministries in our church in this conference. So thank you all so much for attending. Thank you all that are attending in-house. I know a lot of you are watching online while you get ready for service on tonight, and that is perfectly fine. Hey, we're not going to keep you long. We're just going to go over some basic principles and basic tools that you all can have that will add tremendously to your media ministry. So we've got a little PowerPoint here, and then right after our PowerPoint, we're going to open it up for Q&As, and then we're going to get out of here, okay? Thank you all so much again for attending. So we're going to go to our first slide. So our first step in creating a media ministry or a successful media ministry is creating a blueprint for that ministry, okay? So what does a blueprint how do we define a blueprint? A blueprint is an engineering drawing or design that guides the production and building of a product. So that's incredibly important because if we are saying that we're either starting or going to be enhancing a ministry, we can't do so without knowing what it is that we're trying to do, what it is that we're trying to accomplish, and more importantly, why it is that we want to accomplish it. So we're going to break down what a blueprint is and tailor it towards how exactly it's going to help us with our media ministry. Next slide. So creating the blueprint. First thing we need to do is define the theme of our ministry. If we're here and we're saying that we are the media team or the media ministry, and we're working for our specific church, we can't do anything unless we know exactly what the goals, the aim, the theme, or the purpose of our specific ministry is. So we need to define the theme of our ministry. How do we do that? We're going to get into that. So then also we're going to be speaking on, go back for me, Cody. Also, we're going to be speaking on building a team, establishing a budget, and how you can impact your ministry. But right now, we're just going to focus on defining the theme of your ministry. So go next slide. So knowing the vision of your leader. If we're serving under our leader or serving at our church, we can only go as far as our leader is allowing us to go. So we need to know what exactly he has envisioned for this ministry in order for us to be able to do what? Align with the vision of our leader. So not only that, we have to know the purpose or the goals of our church. At my church, Greater Community Temple, we always say we're a church in the heart of the community with the people of the community in its heart. So a lot of our things or a lot of our programming or a lot of our media or a lot of our music is targeted towards community service outreach programs, whether it's giving out food boxes, or knocking door to door, things of that sort, giving out masks during the pandemic, things of that sort. So as a media ministry, what we had to do was align ourselves with a goal or the theme of our ministry and be able to enhance it. So every time we had community service, we were posting not just flyers, we'll get into that in a second, not just flyers, but vignettes, photos, not only recapping, but letting the community know exactly what we were about to do because that's what our leader or what season our leader was in. So that's a very, very key part of what we're to do. We can't do anything without our leader, so we need to know exactly what our leader has envisioned for our ministry. Next slide for me. So now we're going to go to building a team. This is a media ministry or a media team. Even if you are a team of one, you are still a team. In this case, there might be an I in team, but we want to grow from that. So even if it's just you by yourself, we're going to show you exactly how to properly grow your team or yourself into a full-blown ministry. And it's not as complicated as you think. It's actually a couple short steps. So the first thing that we're saying is showing up consistently. I can't be the director of our production or media department at my church if I'm only coming on first and fourth Sundays. Because why would anybody else show up? Or if they did show up, they wouldn't know what to do. So showing up, thank you, showing up consistently is a key part in building a team. You have to be able to show that you're willing to, one, put in the work, two, show up consistently, and three, do things without the credit. Amen. That's a big part. A lot of this we get into, and I tell people, look, or recruits who want to join the media team, I say, look, you might not get a bunch of credit for what you're going to do, but your work is needed. So if you're here wanting to be seen or wanting to come in dressed nice and dressed to impress, this is not the ministry for you, because what we're about to do here is work. A lot of my guys refer to our media room or our office in the back, we just call it the cage, because we say we're locked in. Like at all times, when we walk in, we're locked in. We're not thinking about anything else but how exactly we can impact our ministry by way of media. Two, making your ministry intriguing. Now, when I say ministry here, of course, I'm talking about the church, but I'm talking about specifically your media department. So making your ministry, because your department is a ministry, don't get that wrong. You're not just a crew of people. You are a ministry. You are impacting lives through your work. So making your team or your department intriguing, how do you do that? By not frowning while you're on the camera. Don't stand on the camera and look like you're not having a good time, or you're not engaged in the service, or you really don't want to be here because your mama just made you come, or things of that sort. Make your team intriguing. I can't tell you how many times people come up to me Sunday to Sunday, hey, I really want to join the media team. Y'all look like y'all are having an amazing time. Or somebody's mom might come up and say, hey, I love what you all are doing. I really want to put my child in, or bring my son in and to join in on what you're doing. And that's simply because we enjoy what we do. We do things, we make it competitive. We do things like say, who can get the shot of the day? Who can get the best camera shot of the day? We might incentivize and say, hey, I got $10 for whoever gets the best shot today. And then what are they doing for the rest of the service? They are completely engaged in what they're doing. And those are things that make our media ministry intriguing or engaging to others, because you don't want to just recruit, of course, not new members, but you want to recruit members to your staff so that they have a reason to come around as well. Engaging the youth. I'm going to have Cody cut to a quick little clip. We won't just play the audio, but we'll just show you. This is my team, okay? Go full screen for me, Cody. My team is composed of all of these guys that are standing right here. The first three are 13 years old. The one at the bottom, that's my sound man's son. He kind of snuck in. We started 12 years old, but he's about 8. The guy right there is 14, and the guy on over is 17. I think we're missing maybe 2. One of them's 14, and the other one is 17. And they run my whole entire operation. Things that I've gone across the country, then this is not an exaggeration. I've gone across the country and seen 30 to 40-year-olds doing. They're doing it at that level, at that age. And that's simply because we not only start them young, but when we bring them in, we don't treat them like they're children. We treat them like they know what they're doing. And we train them extensively, and we're not easy on them. We're hard on them. Like I tell the parents, once they send them back, I say, look, we are a ministry, but we're working back here. And I make sure that they know that and they understand it before they come. And if you set that expectation, or if you set that bar before you recruit people, they'll understand what they're walking into. So that's just wanted to show you all a little clip of my staff, but they are amazing. Even though they're young, they are some extremely talented people. Not only that, but we incentivize our workers. Little things like, I might buy everybody wings if we have to shoot a concert, or if we have a night program, things of that sort, just to make sure that or your people know that you care about them as their leader. Next slide. Establishing a budget, that's the next key thing. Now, a lot of people, they get kind of, nervous when we get on this subject, because they're like, okay, I really don't have any control over this. This is, more so this might be my pastor or my finance team or my head deacon, and they don't really understand that's a key part of what you're doing. You can't establish not only a ministry, but you can't establish a team, a production plan, or what we talked about in the beginning. We can't establish a blueprint without knowing what we're working with. So we have to establish our budget. Amen. So we have to speak to our pastors, find out exactly what it is that we have allotted to us for the year. Now, once we get that information, if that information has, if it's already present, if not, then let's sit down with our leader, figure out exactly what it is that we have and what it is we're able to do and create that budget. Amen. But figure out what we have for the year, and then what will we do from there? We're going to compartmentalize it, okay? So meaning we're going to break it down into exactly how we can and want to spend these funds and exactly how they will have impacts on our ministry. So we'll break it down into things like, how much do we want to spend on social media ads? If we have a gospel explosion concert and it gets a lot of views on Facebook or YouTube, and we want to put ads on it and monetize it. How much do we want to spend on that? Or how much do we want to spend on equipment? How much do we want to spend on staffing? Things of that sort. And once we do that, we're able to then gauge exactly what we're working with as a whole. So not only we know how many people we have at this point, we know how much we have to spend, how much we want to spend, and where exactly we want to spend it. So that's where we are here at the stage that we are now. Now, the last thing, find ways to impact your ministry's giving. So when you're talking about creating a budget, if the budget has not already been created, the best pitch, and a lot of people come to me in this capacity because I have to have this conversation constantly, not only with our pastor, but with the leaders of our church or the financial officers. We have to be able to show what we're bringing in or how exactly we're being an aid to the giving ministry at our church. As we all know, of course, church is church, but church is also a business. Amen. So if we know the church is a business, we have to show our worth. So if we're showing that we're bringing in X amount of dollars, or we're, adding to the ministry in these things, they're going to be more prompt or more apt to be able to increase your budget or help you to be able to get more liquidation to get a couple of cameras here, or maybe run some extra social media ads there because they see that you're doing what you're working and what you're doing is of value to the ministry. Amen. And we're rolling through, like I said, you all, this is not going to be long. Once we get done, we're going to open it up for Q&A. You all that are watching online, please, if you put your comments in, Cody is in the back. He's taking notes and seeing exactly what you all have questions about. And also, please like and share this so we're able to help somebody through this presentation. Next slide for me. So how can you impact your ministry? So first thing we have up there is increasing attendance. Now, that could be virtually, but it also could be your in-person attendance. How do we do that? We have to market, amen? So when we market, when we're putting not only this, so I told y'all we were going to come back to this, not only just posting flyers, and I'm going to pause here, and we're really going to have a discussion about it. You all, as churches, a lot of times we just get lost in, oh, I made a flyer, and that's it. That is a part of marketing. But it is not marketing as a whole, you all. So if we're thinking about what do you sit on your phone, if while you're sitting on the couch and you're scrolling on your phone and you're seeing, okay, what you're watching, whatever, it might be basketball, it might be House of Highlights, it might be CNN, it might be whatever it is that you're watching, I guarantee you're not pausing for more than 2 to 3 seconds on a flyer because it's not engaging, meaning it's not getting your attention and keeping your attention. So what do we want to do by way of marketing? We want to post vignettes, post a 1-minute clip of what Pastor talked about this Sunday, something that not only, he felt was really, really good, but something that you were able to look around the audience and you saw, oh my gosh, they really, really love this point. Not just the hooping, not just the hollering, but key, great information that you see people in your church are really, really enjoying. You take a mental note or a physical note during service, throw that on Instagram, or maybe if we're having announcements that Sunday, we do them virtually and we post them on social media. Different things to keep people engaged, and I guarantee you it will change not only your attendance virtually. You won't see just your live numbers come up, but you'll also see people coming in. And once you do your new member intake and you ask, hey, how did you hear about this ministry? They'll probably say, oh, I saw you on Facebook, or I saw you on YouTube, I saw you on Instagram. And what would that entail? It'll go back to that last slide, and you're showing your worth to the ministry. Amen. Broadening the reach of your ministry. So we know that the 4 walls of the church are so impactful, but everybody's not going to make it into the 4 walls of your church. So how do you broaden the impact of your ministry through what we were just talking about, social media and marketing? You're going to reach people that you have no idea would ever have come in contact with your ministry just by the way of a click or just by the way of them typing on their phone or scrolling on their phone. So keep broadening the horizons of your ministry through your media. Next point, involving inactive members. So this goes back to what we were talking about, recruiting or team building. If you see somebody who's in your ministry, and when we were first making this PowerPoint, one of my, or Cody was saying, let's use, what word did you say, Cody? Disengaged members. And I said, hold on, let's not say disengaged, because they might thoroughly enjoy the ministry. They might be standing up, hand clapping, foot stomping every single Sunday, but they're just not doing anything in the ministry. Those are the kind of people that you might want to go after, people who are in the ministry. You see them constantly, but they're just inactive. Those are things that you want to do in order to be able to improve your ministry. That's impacting the ministry. You're not only drawing people who are already in your church, but people that you see, new faces and things of that sort, in order to add more value to your ministry. Presenting new ways of worship. Now, this is one of my all-time favorite things of, well, I guess not all-time, but it's one of my favorite things of this PowerPoint. Presenting new ways of worship could be anything from posting, musical highlights on throughout the week. Maybe we call it Worship Wednesdays or things of that sort. Or it could even go to maybe dimming the lighting a little bit during praise and worship. Different things that you can do during worship or to create worship that's in a different way. Part of your job, or a lot of your job, honestly, as a member of the media team, is to bring innovative ideas to your ministry. So what's one thing that you have to go to your leader or go to your pastor and ask for is creative control. And I know that's scary for a lot of people, and they're saying, oh, well, we don't want to go too far. We're not saying we're shutting the lights off in the church or making it look like a concert or anything like that, but what we are doing is trying to think of new innovative ways and new creative ways to be able to worship and be able to not only draw people in, but keep them there once they get inside of those four walls. Amen? Midweek engagement. A lot of times we are Super Bowl. It's Sunday to Sunday. But Monday through, I won't say Saturday, because a lot of times we're posting saying, hey, come to church tomorrow. But Monday to Friday, it's just, we disappear. We don't, we don't even think about church Monday through Friday. So that's key for our marketing purposes. So Monday through Friday, we should be dropping, like I said, the vignettes, dropping a photo of pastor, or dropping a photo of first lady, or dropping a photo of just a member enjoying service on that Sunday, maybe posting a quote that pastor said, or things of that sort, to keep your ministry on the front part. We don't want your ministry on the back of people's minds. We want it on the front part. We want to always be in your face. I want to be able to see that if I go down my timeline right now, or go down my timeline today, I guarantee you I'm going to see something from GCT, or I'm going to see something from Rosemark, or I'm going to see something from some of you all's local churches. We want to be able to keep that midweek engagement up. That way we know that we're constantly on the front of people's minds, so we're constantly thinking about, hey, I've got church upcoming this Sunday, and giving them a reason to be excited about coming, and they won't forget about your ministry. Amen. Next slide. I believe that might be the last one. Is that the last one? Okay, cool. I'm sorry, we flew right on through it. Amen. It's still only 7:06. We're getting ready for worship. Those of you watching, please don't forget that at 7:30 we have the Friday night worship meeting for our leadership conference, or our 2-in-1 conference. It's been our workers meeting as well as women's conference, and we've been having a fantastic time all week long. So please make sure that you all tune back in right here on the same page, Tennessee Central COGIC, or if you're watching on YouTube, that's GCT COGIC. But we're going to open it up for a quick Q&A, and then we're going to get right on out of here, and we're going to see you all in a couple of months, because we're planning a huge session, or a huge media training for our AIM conference. That's just a little side plug. Okay, we've got a question here. Mm-hmm. Right. I think, first of all, while we're talking about budget, everybody's budget is not going to be the same, okay? Of course. We know we have different churches with different sizes with different amounts of money in the account. But what I will guarantee you is that you can produce a media team of some fashion no matter what budget you have. What do we all have? iPhones, cell phones, iPads, tablets. They have things such as, might be something that a lot of you all want to take note of. I know I'm sitting here right by JD and Cameron, and they at Unity Temple use something called Switcher Studio. It's an application or software that they're able to stream their entire service, getting the audio from the soundboard, getting a whole production in just by using either a tablet or an iPhone. They still can do lower thirds, anything that they want to, just by way of their devices. We haven't even mentioned a camera yet. But going back to your question, the first thing that we want to do, of course, is creating a budget just to see what we do have and figure out what we can do to start off with. And then next is reaching out to ministries who have already established it. Maybe, of course, ministries who you see that are established, but establish what you're doing on your level. So the level that you want to start off on, a nice starter level, but it's good quality, reach out to them. We have a network here, of course, in our jurisdiction. We have tons of churches, 90-something churches throughout the state of Tennessee. I'm sure a lot of them have members who are willing to work with you and willing to help you out. And most importantly, well, I'm not going to say most importantly, but definitely use me. I serve as the production director of Greater Community Temple, and I'm always here. We have a general media email that we have 3 eyes on. We're going to put that in the chat. Cody, drop that for me now. But that we're going to put in the chat, and if you reach out, it might not be me or it might be Cody or Charles, but we'll definitely have someone get with you in order for them to be able to assist you with your ministry. But the first step is, even on whatever level or whatever capacity that you're on, what we talked about, establishing a blueprint, establishing a budget, setting a team, and then building that team. Those things are still going to apply no matter what level of ministry you're doing. I answered that. That was cool. Great. What are the questions? I recommend both, depending on your leader's engagement. If you know your pastor has 20,000 followers and your church page has 200, go live on your pastor's page as well as your church page. Of course, your church page isn't going to get as many likes or get as many views, but you don't want to forget about either. Your pastor is extremely important because a lot of people, when we're thinking about churches, before we say, hey, let me go see what Rosemark is doing, who's the first page we're going to go to? We're going to go to Pastor Smith's page and see what is he doing. And that's a big thing, and I'm really glad you asked that question, because this is another thing. We're going to step off media team. We're going to go to pastors or leaders real quick. If you're watching here and you see that your church is in a stage of growing in the capacity of media, you have to align yourself with that goal. So meaning you can't have your page full of a bunch of other things besides your ministry. Of course, post your life. Enjoy your life. Post your family, post your kids, post your nephews, your nieces, all of that. But make sure that you keep a healthy dose of your ministry on your page so that people can see that this is a clear, identifiable leader of this specific ministry. So that's extremely important. I've argued with my father. If you all don't know, my father's Bishop Porter. But I've argued with him tooth and nail, and I finally got his Instagram password about 2 months ago. I haven't really done everything that I wanted to do, but I've gone through and just had the amount of reoccurring flyers that were on that page. I'm talking about hours and hours of work, and I'm not done yet. Just deleting them in order to clean up his image, and he's allowed me what we talked about earlier, creative control. So if I go and, post something, if you look at the TD Jakes and I won't say Jamal Bryant because he actually posts all of his stuff himself, but he does an amazing job with it because he has a good team. But if you look at these leaders, a lot of them have people who are managing their pages. Of course, they still have access to it, but they're allowing their teams creative control because they've studied these departments or they've got degrees in PR and marketing, or they've got degrees in social media marketing, and they know what's best. So you as leaders have to not only be able to of course, have free reign in what you're doing, but allow your team some creative control. Listen to their ideas, reach out to them, ask them questions in order for them to be able to help you. Next question. Yes. Got you. Somebody ask that question for me one more time so I can repeat it for our audience on live. Kristen, what was your question? Oh, you wrote it down. What was your question so I can repeat it so they know what question I just answered real quick? Right. She asked, do I recommend broadcasting from the pastor's page or the church's page? Well, I really got off there, but I did answer the question in the first part of it. That's what she asked. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. So he asked, is it better for the pastor to share the live from the church or actually go live on the pastor's page? Now, depending on what you're doing, if you're going live straight from a cell phone, like say for instance, you're on live or throughout, your camera, your media department, you're on live, but your pastor goes live as well just to let them know, hey, we're in worship. He's showing what's going on. I recommend both. Hey, show them, but don't record or don't go live the whole service. When I say going live from the pastor's page, I really do appreciate that question. I'm signed in on my laptop. I'm signed in on my laptop to the pastor's page, and everything that you would see on the church page, meaning the live feed, you're going to see on your pastor's page. If it's not like that, and you're just going live from a cell phone, this is what I recommend. Go live, that's fine. Let your pastor ding your people and see what's going on, but then cut it off. Just give them a snippet, give them a tease, so that they would then do what? Go and jump on your church's live because they got some amazing stuff going on. We want to see what's happening here. Let's not go live for a whole 2 hours because then we're just doing what? Taking the attention away from our church's page, especially if it's not the same exact content. Amen? Good question. Great questions. Anything else? Do we have anything online, Cody? Any questions that are in the comments? Okay. Good. Well, we're wrapping up this session. I really do appreciate you all. I hope that not only you online, but you all that are here in the sanctuary, I hope that we were able to help you. I know it was a fast session, and we will have so many more questions after this that'll come. And what we're planning to do, like I said, we were just talking about it before this meeting, is to do a large media training during our Tennessee Central State AIM Conference. This is going to be big, and I want you all to make sure that you send your media ministry to State AIM. Send your youth to State AIM, and I promise you that they are going to be impacted. I think we have one more question. How do you get in contact with us? We have our email in the chat. I'll say it now, though. It is media.gctcogic5151@gmail.com. I know it's so long. I did not make it, but we are here now. Amen. I'm going to say it one more time. media.gctcogic5151@gmail.com. You shoot us an email. Just put in the subject, maybe your question and what church you're from, and exactly how we can contact you. And we would love to be able to fellowship with you. We would love to work with you if you want to do some on-site trainings. If you would like for our team to come to your ministry and do some hands-on training with your crew, please shoot us an email. Let us know. We'll get with your leader, and we can definitely make that happen. We are here as a resource, just like we have resources ourselves. Something that Bishop says all the time is you cannot better yourself until you respect better than you, which is why we're constantly surfing the web, finding out what other ministries are doing, how are they doing it, does it work, and how exactly we can mimic it and tailor it to bring it to our own ministry. So please, you all, let's make sure that we stay connected. Amen. One more question? Mm-hmm. Amen. The question was, how do we effectively get our leader out of their comfort zone or out of the norm in an effective way? That is a really, really good question. I'll give a quick example. Cody, if you'll go back to that YouTube just so they can see what I'm talking about. Before we got into the heat of the pandemic, right before the pandemic hit, our bishop did these upgrades that you'll see back here. You'll see different lighting in our video wall. Just play a clip from Praise and Worship, Cody, just so they can see that. But our bishop did a huge update, and this happened right before. And the way that we were able to get those updates done, or convince our leader to go ahead and take this step and make this change. If anybody knows my mom, y'all know that she decorated our whole entire church. So anything that changes in our church is a big deal, not only in the four walls of the church, but in the four walls of his home as well. So he wasn't really too anxious to make any sudden changes. But what we did is simply followed the blueprint that we just said here. We established a team. We made a blueprint. We established a budget, or got our budget from our leaders. And then we were able to show our value. So what we were doing was constantly showing our leader how exactly these subtle changes that we're making are, one, either monetarily impacting our ministry or impacting the environment or the condition of our ministry. But we didn't do things drastic. We're not going in and going from clergy collars to ripped jean jackets. Now, that might be something that we tease on second Sundays, or something that we ease them into. I know we have the haze machines at our ministry, where you can, so the purpose of the haze machine is so that you can see the rays of light in the church. But we didn't just go in and put the haze on 100 and swing the lights around. We gradually eased them into it. And so what you have to do is and it's going to work. I mean, it's going to be work depending on your leader. Some leaders are going to be more, this is the best word to put it. Some leaders are going to be more stubborn than others. It's going to be a little bit more work depending on your pastor. But as long as you're easing them into it and showing them why what you're doing works, I guarantee you it'll have an impact on your ministry. And if that doesn't work, that email that I just gave you, give it to them. Tell them, call Bryson and say, hey, why should we do this here at our ministry? Amen. Next question from the chat. Oh, y'all are having some amazing conversation in the chat. I love it. So the difference between hardwire and Wi-Fi is we have an actual what's called a Cat5 or Ethernet cable plugged directly into your computer. Now, what that does is no matter who's on your Wi-Fi, no matter who's on your network, you have oh my God, that'll preach. No matter who's on your Wi-Fi or who's on your network, you have a direct connection to your internet. So it automatically makes it stronger. So if I'm trying to get to heaven through Elder Wright, or I'm trying to get to heaven through Kristen, or trying to get to heaven through Sherman, I don't have a direct connection, versus if I just build a actual relationship with Jesus, myself. Amen. Oh my, y'all aren't hearing me in here. I got a lot of hats. I'm just wearing media right now. We'll wrap it up because we got to get. I'm not preaching tonight. Bishop is preaching, but y'all let them know. Hey, you got something. Okay, next question from the chat, and we'll wrap it up, you all. That's it. That's all the questions from the chat. You all, thank you so much. I'm not going to take up any more time. We've got to take our setup and make sure that we're ready to go live tonight. But like I said, hey, you all, please don't forget about State Aim here in Jackson, Tennessee this upcoming summer. We're going to have an awesome time, and our whole entire media ministry will be back. We're going to do some hands-on training. We're going to bring some different cameras, different systems, different softwares for you all to be able to experiment with and see, and we hope to fellowship with you soon. Thank you all so much. Again, I'm Bryson Porter. We've got Cody Moore in the back. Our other coworker, Charles Reese, he got sick today, so he wasn't able to be a part of this session, but he's also a tool as well. He handles all of our PR and marketing. Thank you all so much for attending, and we hope that you're blessed by something that we said tonight. Amen.